to reduce the risk of grandparents being exposed to COVID-19 over Christmas. On Sunday, police in Amsterdam arrested at least 30 people at an unauthorised protest against lockdown measures and vaccinations. The Netherlands has been in lockdown since mid-December. Anna Holligan reports.
Here we are.
The first major anti-lockdown demo of the new year, and the focus of their discontent was clear. 4 officers were injured when people tried to break through a barricade. A few protesters were hurt too. They object to the rules suddenly imposed by the Dutch government a few days before Christmas to limit social interactions, protect the vulnerable in society, and relieve pressure in hospitals. Thousands defied a ban on mass public gatherings designed to impede the rapid spread of the Omicron variant. Many people here believe the focus should be elsewhere.
The problem here...
Okay, so I'll just continue on with the next one.
Partial lockdown imposed in the Netherlands.
This is in, I believe, Rotterdam.
Restrictions here began on Monday and are set to be in place for another 2 weeks at least. Like many countries in Europe, the Netherlands has seen a sharp rise in COVID cases.
Yes, and high vaccination rate as well.
Die Demonstration begann zunächst friedlich. Eine Gruppe von ganz in weiß gekleideten Personen rief, dies ist keine Diktatur. Erst später vor dem Reichsmuseum kam es dann zur Auseinandersetzung mit der Polizei. Die Beamten setzten dabei Hunde ein. 4 Polizisten wurden verletzt. Ob es auch verletzte Demonstranten gab, ist noch unklar. Mindestens 30 Menschen wurden festgenommen, unter anderem wegen unerlaubtem Waffenbesitz. Erst gegen Abend beruhigte sich die Lage.
So I have actually that video clip from those dogs. You can see it here. The police force, under the, I guess, the orders from the totalitarian mayor of Amsterdam, gave these guys a lot of unnecessary power. And you can see here the guy being jumped by the dog, and his wrist or his arm is in the dog's mouth. And you saw from the video clip just a moment ago, a similar scene near the end, after all the graphic stuff was gone. You could see in this video here that I showed you earlier that people were being rammed by police vehicles. You could see protesters were trying. Here's the one with the dog. That was the aftermath. So Amsterdam and the people of the Netherlands, I think, are starting to wake up, and they're starting to become aware that the COVID restrictions are no longer plausible, or its benefit is nowhere to be found. It's true that the Netherlands had a boost in Omicron presence, but you know, at this point in COVID, what everybody has to realize is that the lockdown procedures aren't working. The vaccination procedures aren't working. Everywhere you're going, you're seeing that people who are vaccinated are getting infected with Omicron, just like the doctors told us that the vaccination was the wrong way to go about solving the problem, and that lockdowns, citing Florida as an example, are completely redundant. It's not the government's right to impose this kind of thing upon people, and you're seeing that frustration growing in pockets all over the planet. And I'm thinking that the longer that these lockdowns go on and the more tight that things get with people not being able to enjoy their freedom, not being able to keep their business open, eventually will radicalize the public, as you see here. And that old saying that that government should be afraid of their people is going to ring true. At least I hope so. It will depend on the resolve of the people. But overall, I can say that a lot of these things are nothing more than an abuse of power by governments. And they truly are. Here in Canada, we have the same idea. In Quebec, it's actually worse. They have full curfew and whatnot. It is like being inside the movie V for Vendetta. They are imposing the lockdown and they manufacture this crisis. When I look at it, Omicron is less deadly, more infectious, but less deadly than the Delta variant. And it might be a blessing in disguise because nobody's talking about the mortality rate of Omicron. It has a high infection rate, but it's less lethal. So it's important to keep in mind that the natural immunity from people's immune systems are the best way to deal with the crisis. And it may be hard for us to pass through that, but we must pass through that. And if you had actual more governments that were, for lack of a better word, free, that embraced liberty, they would not impose the lockdowns even for this crisis. There is no situation in which they could impose a lockdown like this. People are getting more and more angry, and God bless them. I hope they do, and I hope their resolve is strong, because there are a lot of people who are going to suffer because we've let the government get away with too much in the guise of, say, healthcare or the collective health of its people. This in the past has been used as a pretense for many, many dark things, many evil doings on the government, many grabs for control, increasing their power and whatnot. We have to wake up. We have to understand the thing that's in front of us. This is not about public health. This is not about public protection. This is about totalitarians that were in the closet, and then after COVID hit, they actually came out of the closet and showed their true colors. And the mayor of Amsterdam, I'll be the first one to say that person is insane and a totalitarian by the way that she governs. There's nothing beneficial. The lockdowns have proven to be fruitless. The vaccines have proven to be fruitless. The efforts, the campaign has proven to be absolutely fruitless. And what it's done is it's driven people mad. And the longer it goes on, the more it will drive people mad. So, and I don't mean crazy. I mean angry, driving people mad, angry. So, one must try to look through the facade. When I went on my research, it was very difficult to find this scene. In fact, it was impossible to find this scene on Google or any mainstream website or any news channel. And the reason is because they want to conceal the fact that the police are using very, very vicious force here. Anybody who's been mauled by a dog will tell you that this is very, very bad. The dog could actually cause a lot of damage, and he's undoubtedly causing damage. And the media campaign is trying to paint the policeman as the victim, misinform the public that this is about people being unhappy, this is about people being discontented, just light duty words. Look at how many people came out. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people came out. And God knows that there are those who are afraid that they watch this thing and they want to participate and they want to take part, but they're afraid to be on the front line, so to speak. And you should be. The police are not playing games in this protest, because they're coming armed with shields and batons and probably pepper spray. And look at this. This is a protest. Look at the overdoing the force. It's like they're going to war, and they are going to war with their own people. So any policemen here that stand, this is under orders. This is they should stand down. We're not a war. This is not a war zone. Look at this. To me, it's a sign of government sickness. It's a sign of government sickness. In the past, we have often, or at least our forefathers, our ancestors have strived to keep government small. This is what happens when government becomes too big. They start talking in terms of they're the ones, the big brother who will manage the problem for you, not elected on your behalf to make decisions that you sanction. So I can't imagine that with this amount of outcry that the lockdowns are a very popular thing here. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the past, it used to be that the people will overthrow the government that manages and fails to uphold the will of the people. And this is a failure to uphold the will of the people. I'm not saying we shouldn't be careful, and I'm not saying there isn't danger, but people should decide within the individuality and autonomy of their own lives how to solve the problem for themselves. Not government mandating and this kind of nonsense that they're enforcing upon you. That's how you know it's not for public health. If this is about public health, they will go about solving the problem differently, right? You cannot mandate against free right to expression and protest, right? They're acting like you can impose all the sanctions you want, but the way their constitution is written, it's not actually legal. The will of the people prevails. And it means that if enough of you come out, they have to end the lockdowns. They must end it. You can put the government people in prison with enough support of the people. You have to arrest them. These totalitarians that have been hiding all over the world in the guise of even conservatism, but most likely socialism. They're Democrats, if you want to summarize it like that. These people are not your friend. These people want you in chaos. They want you desperate and poor and weak and afraid. That's the key. So take Netherlands as an example for the rest of us. The public outcry against these people, against these government, these socialists, these totalitarians, they need to happen. People have to see that this is not about public health. It isn't. There's no chance it's about public health. When you look at the imposing of government will over its people, that's totalitarianism. We mandate what you do, what you say, what you're permitted to do. You are permitted to do what we allow. It's wrong. Governments don't rule from the top down. It's not that kind of authority. Governments rule from the bottom up. People elect their officials to speak on their behalf, and then it moves up. But the problem is that bureaucracy is big nowadays. The governments already knew and decided that the more people they could get working for them, the bigger the bureaucracy, the more powerful that they became. And they did become powerful. But now the people have to decide that they're going to take the power away. And it starts with even free elections. I might say there's no such thing as free elections nowadays. But there has to be accountability on the part of the government. This is an unaccountable government. They don't answer to anyone. They make the public answer to them. So look at how the police use their cars as battering rams. Like they're going to force people to move out of the way. Look at that. Now the protesters overrun them. These people are not armed. like you can see, I haven't seen a video yet where they attack the police except by fist fighting, and the police are armed. So it's not like their lives are really in danger. But if it were me, I would make the officers stand down, because what they're doing is against the public interest in every way. So I think I'll summarize it with that. Thank you so much for watching, and please comment below. I look forward to reading your comments and seeing how you feel about this matter. Take care.